So what we're looking at here is the exercise 9, which was a form, and the form was sort of wrapped around some data that we had from before, which was from the product list data. And so basically we had in our form, we had some input, and we've got a submit that we've changed its name to proceed to checkout. We've got a special kind of input there, which is a password type input. We've got checkboxes here, and then we can submit, and it basically just takes us to another sort of look. Now, all of that I have given you because you've done this before. So you're looking now at the code for that, but you will see if you look on D2L. So D2L, where are you? Not there. Yeah, here. So if you look on D2L, you'll see that I put some links there, and there's a link there to the Lab 9 solution there. And so this is in your, it's on your thing. You can download this, and so you don't have to write this code or anything. That code is given to you. So that's the solution to Lab 9, and that looks like what we were looking at just there a second ago. Yeah, this one. So that's our Lab 9. Now, what we have to do with the Lab 9 is you need to put do you see how that, when we hover over it, that sort of comes up there? We need to put in a drop down thing like that. Now, so what I've given you, and to sort of give you a sort of a leg up on that, is if you go back to look here, I have so there's a link there that you can go and look in W3 Schools to tell you how to do a drop down hover menu. So the idea is when we hover our cursor over something, then we get to see things change. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot. And we've got some code for that, which I've given you here. And basically, it just produces a drop-down list. But the drop-down list doesn't show up until you hover over a button. And I think I've actually got that somewhere in here too. Maybe, and bear with me. Because I got too many folders. So I'm hoping it's here. Yeah. Yes, the drop-down list. So this one is just like this. This is straight out of W3 Schools. And what you see is that when the cursor is not over the button, there's nothing there. When we put it over the button and over these things, we have this hover sort of situation going on. Now, that's what we're sort of adding to this. And you can see that by opening it in Notepad. And what you see is so this is sort of simplified so you can get the idea. You can take this kind of code and put it into the other one that you've got there. But do you see that there's a very small amount of HTML here? So basically all we've got is we've got a button, and you could do this without a button. You could do it with, and you've got an image that's given to you in the solution to Lab 9. But so we've got this very small amount that you see, which is there's a button, and then there's this this div which is given a name, and then there's a bunch of A links in that div, and then each of these classes here, each of these classes have been styled, and also the A tag has been styled. So if you look at them, we can see that the A tag has been styled with a particular color. Okay, and we can see that, okay, so drop down, and where's the drop down content? Yeah, the drop down content, it shows so that the drop down content, do you see how we start displaying it? Normally we've got the display on it, which is none. So it's not going to be displayed. However, when we hover, and so we call this hover thing, we call it a pseudo class. Now, where's my hover on this? Oh yeah, here we have it. They put them all in these different things. So what happens is when we hover, in other words, we've styled these things here, but we style them slightly different when there's a hover over them. And so when we hover over the A, so any one of these things, we get a different background color. And I think we saw that there. We saw it sort of coming up as a gray. When we hover over just the content, we get a display block. That just means that the stuff is going to be displayed in this particular way. Now, when we hover over the button, we get a different color. So those, now the other thing that's happening there, which I should sort of point out if I can see it, is when we hover over the button. Where's the button? Here's the button. When we hover over the button, that brings the drop-down list into view. So drop the count to display, be in the display. So we have it. Normally the display is off, but when we hover over it, we get a display which is sort of coming. So these are the things that you'll need to sort of take this and modify it to something in order to finish that lab that you're doing there. Now, so I've given you this code, and this is how it works. You need to not make this code, not just copy paste this, but you need to adjust it using this as a sort of a pro forma, as a sort of a guide. How can I achieve what I'm going to do in the lab? And because the lab asks you actually to use a different, it's got an image there for you to use for your drop down. And then when you hover over the drop down, then you get a different sort of result coming. All right, so I hope that resume. All right, so again, what all you need to do is you have the code given to you, the answer to lab 9. So as I said, 90% of this is done. I've also given you the code to do a hover. It's not the hover that you're doing for this. It's a hover. You need to look at that, focus on the hover, how it's working. All right. And apply that to what you're going to be doing in the lab. And if you'll do that, you'll be able to sort of get the answer on that. So this is not just to sort of look at mark and copy one. This one you actually have to kind of do it yourself. So I hope that's going to be all right.